And we are live with another episode of the Comedians of Entre Nos. You know me, I'm one of your hosts, Erik Rivera. And you know my other host, the other host right there.
What's
Boom,
up, buddy?
Orlando Leyba. What's going on, man?
I don't like that. You're always smaller than me. Oh,
What do
now
you
you're
mean?
bigger.
You want me
Hey,
to...
buddy.
I
What's
like
up,
that you
man?
got color on today. Usually it's, boom, black. And today you got yellow, you got the blue.
I put thought into it. I was just like, yeah, I like this yellow hat. I like it.
I like it. You look cheerful. You look like you're in a good mood. Things are good?
Oh, things are great, man. No complaints out of me. We're
All
doing
right.
good.
Good to you.
We're
Good.
like what? We're like at 103 days from voting day in November.
Oh, you got the countdown going.
Yeah, dude, 103 days. I get to cast my vote.
Happy Wednesday to you, Eddie. Thanks for joining us. And I like that you got the hashtag vote. You're always hitting us with some kind of deep introspective here. I like it.
It's not deep. It's whatever I'm thinking about that day. That's what you get.
All right. I'm excited about today's episode. Two reasons.
Yes.
First of all, both comedians coming on, super funny.
Yes.
Super funny.
Yes.
Second reason, they are what I like to consider connoisseurs of the cannabis.
Yes, they are. They are herbal essence people.
Herbal essence people. Now,
I'm not talking about the shampoo.
Here's my question to you, because once we booked them, I started laughing because I was like, I really don't have an expertise in that arena, and I'm gonna assume you don't either.
I don't.
So have you ever even just a little try or nothing?
No. It's just like well, everybody has a vice. My vice is food. I love food, like bad food, like everything. You name it, McDonald's, KFC, Popeyes, Chick-fil-A, then mom and pop places like Mamita or Tarmay, or like street vendors, street corn, street hot dogs.
All right, when you said you had a vice, it sounds like a problem. I thought you were just gonna hit me with like three. It sounds like a problem.
No. It's like I'm there, but it's like and it isn't like I have a fancy palate. It's like no, it's all pretty much garbage. I'm a garbage disposal.
Okay, all right. So you know what? Let's bring them in,
yes.
And I feel like we're gonna learn a lot today because I've got questions. I have curiosity, but for me, I think I'm so far gone. Like I know LA has made it legal.
Yeah.
My fear is I can't just go into a place and excuse me.
I'm lying. I have tried because of my other vice. Because my wife, she cooks, and she went to a jam session and came back with cupcakes. And by accident, she was showering, and I saw a cupcake in the refrigerator, and I was just like, "Oh, cupcake!" Yum, yum, yum. And I ate the whole cupcake, and it was a special cupcake. And that's a whole nother story. So,
so my fear is this: like I know in LA, it's legal now, but my fear is I can't go into a store. Like when you remember when you were a little kid and you get like a fish, and then you go into like Petco or Petland. Like, excuse me, I just got a fish, and be like, "Oh, here's the starter pack. Just take that." It's got the rocks and a little leaf. And that's it. Like, I don't know if there's a starter pack for you to go in, excuse me, and they go, "Oh, this is what you need. You need level 1. Here you go."
Yeah. I think edible would be the level 1.
Well, no, I'm going to tell you the story. What happened? Well, let's bring them in. First up, she is super funny. Like I said, I'm a fan. She's got her own podcast called Chronic Relief. Rachel Wolfson and Gomez, a new cat.
This is my son, my new son. He decided to. Hi guys, thanks for having us. Oh my gosh, he's out of control. He's excited to be here with us.
Ain't he Mexican? You said he was Mexican.
He's from Tijuana. He's a new addition to my family. He's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me. My family says they've never seen me so happy, and it's no coincidence. It's not a human. So yeah, that's my cat, my quarantine cat.
Yeah. So were you always a cat person, or this is something that you recently discovered?
I'm not a cat person. I'm a Gomez person.
Yeah.
I actually, truth be told, attempted to adopt 2 cats, but the other cat was a little bit older, and the vibe was off. So
You had diabetes.
She just like didn't really take to Gomez, and I just really wanted to adopt Gomez, so I had to bring her back to her fosters.
Oh, so it was a cat. It was like an old cat that hated millennials. I get it.
Right.
Pretty much.
Yep.
Pretty much.
What's up, Jose? And then let's bring in our other comic. He was actually on, I believe, season 2 of Entre Nos, a half-hour special on Comedy Central, and you recognize him from Netflix's Cooking on High. Big up, Ramon Rivas.
Ramon.
Hey, everybody.
What's up, buddy?
Nothing, man. I had to run to my car to get my lighter, and that's why I'm a little sweaty. I don't know if sweat's coming through.
No,
You're glowing.
Okay, good.
Like you
Right
guys,
now you look healthy.
Yeah, Claudia.
coming in. So I want to talk to you. Like, so me and Orlando do not smoke. Orlando one time accidentally ate a cupcake.
Yeah.
And I had a bad experience with an edible.
Orlando, you just sound high all the time. Like you sound like you're whatever it is that you are smoking. That's the level I want to be at. You're just high on life, though.
No, I'm probably junk food.
I mean, like he said, like food is an anxiety. Like food, weed, and like sex are like my anxiety relievers. And so it's usually food or weed because I can control those.
Yes.
Well, let me ask you, because I know, Rachel, they did an article on you in Forbes where you talk about how you got into, I guess, the cannabis experience. You were going through different, I guess, pharmaceuticals, and you were not.
Yeah, I used to take a lot of pharmaceuticals for anxiety and depression. And then when I got to college, I just became interested in weed from a consumer standpoint and obviously from an advocate standpoint. I really was interested in it from a social movement perspective. So I studied NORML, the National Organization for Reform Marijuana Laws, in college. And so I've been a consumer, an advocate. I took a job as a bud tender so I can even learn more about the industry and the products. And and it's like, for me, it's my medicine. And so it's really changed my life, and everyone has their own journey with it. So, yeah.
What about you, Ramon? How'd you get started in the cannabis?
I've been smoking pot since I was like 13 or 14. So I've been smoking longer than I haven't been smoking, as like in the span of my life. I've always been aware of I feel like I should be on like anxiety meds and things like that, but I just smoke weed and just I deal with it that way. And just within the past few years, like I started my podcast is pre-baked, so it has like a cannabis centric spin to it when I interview people, and just kind of get their journey into things and like what went into making them. Talk to a couple cannabis industry people within that. But I feel like, I don't know if you guys get this, but like no matter what you do, if you're doing it in your brown body, it's kind of political and activist-y regardless. So, be like, because I feel like a lot of people will write you off. They're like, oh, you're a drug user, get the fuck out of here. Where, like you said, I've managed a Comedy Central special, Netflix, HBO Latino, and I've done it all very high. Like on my Entre Nos writer, I put like weed on it, and they got it for me. So I made
Legendary.
Allegedly.
Entre
Nos and the good people at Entre Nos do not provide any time with us.
Yeah, but like most people, you can put whatever you want on your writer, and I'm like, well, it's legal and recreational in California. I don't drink alcohol. I've been sober for a decade, so. I'm like, well, most people will put like a bottle of Jack Daniels or different shit. I was like, let me just put some cannabis on there. and they may or may not have done it. I forgot to cover that.
It is so funny how people look down upon. Like, see, I never smoked or even attempted to, because I grew up. We were Pentecostal Christian, so my mom, to her, that mira, that's el diablo. Don't touch that stuff. That's poison. That leads to other stuff. So, like, I already had that in my head. Like, oh, this is not good. And then I got this when I started doing comedy. You know, people around me would do it, and then I remember I got a job doing warm up for the Montel Williams show. And Montel's a big advocate.
Oh yeah.
And I remember him breaking down the effects it had for him because he had MS and how it helped him with his muscles and helped him with it. And it was like the first time for me, like realizing like, oh, this isn't bad. This is actually a good thing if you use it the right way. Like this could be a good thing.
Yeah.
But then, and then I felt like I was too old though at that point to go and try to figure out how to start.
No, it's not like a community college where you're like, who's this old motherfucker trying to get an education? You about to die. Nah, like you can. I feel like cannabis is one of those things that you can kind of indulge and learn about at any point in time. And where I get like, because I have such a high tolerance, I'm sure you get this too, Wolfie, where like you'll meet people who are like, I like smoking, and then they'll smoke with you, and like the way we smoke is a little different tier and caliber, and so it's almost like someone getting drunk on moonshine for the first time.
Yeah.
The first time they ever get drunk. And it's like this, that's not how you should do it. You should do it like comfortably, like get yourself a little joint, hit it a couple times, put it out, see how you feel, versus like trying to keep pace with a Wolfie or a Ramon. It's going to affect you.
And
yeah,
what's
like
good, the thing that I noticed, like I have my story similar to Eric. It was just like I was just like, oh, okay, I've been around so long and I haven't done it like that, and it's like I kind of, and I don't want to spend the money. I'm cheap, so like
put it on your rider, man.
Yeah. So no, I decided to put in a stylist. Anyway, you got
hair.
I got hair, you know, but thanks to Ramon, which I know him personally, and thanks to Rachel, who went out there and educated yourself. Because I also know I met sick people. I met people with cancer that use it. And like you said, Eric, also about Montel. And I love that whole change came about it where people started looking at it different. Obviously, it was like people like Rachel started coming up front with it, and it's like in an educated way and not just wearing a tie-dye t-shirt and long hair. It's like, hey man, it makes you love everybody, man. And
yeah, that was
from that educational process opened everybody's to, like, even my mom, she's 73, and my mom will be like, yes, you see, yo he oído algo que es bueno para los huesos y para los dolores, yeah. So talking about how it's good for the pain and for her bone pain and stuff like that. Like,
and it's not I feel like pills do something different to your whole brain chemistry. That like I don't like the long-term effects of seeing people who like will get on pills for something like anxiety, and then it's just you need to be on those all the time.
Yeah, that was what was important for me, was when I first started getting into the marketing side of it and kind of you know, showing the images of me smoking weed, because before, the whole stoner stereotype, like you were saying, Orlando, was just very lazy, or like, you know, it just was very like the stoner. And it's like so many successful people smoke weed. And also it's about educating different kinds of people, and also the older generations, because they've been affected by the war on drugs and that propaganda. So it's really just unlearning a lot of things that we were taught. So that's what's important.
Like there's a documentary called The House I Live In, which is about like the drug war in the prison industrial complex. And it breaks down how like every drug used to be legal and then they became illegal because they got associated with a cultural group, so that you can't criminalize being Asian in California, which is where opium was made illegal first, but a lot of Chinese people used opium. A lot of middle class and rich white people did as well, but the Chinese are the ones who got locked up for it because they were working the railroads and coming over and like working jobs. marijuana got made illegal because it was associated with Mexicans and Latinos who were coming over and doing work in the Southwest. And so it's, a lot of those stereotypes that our parents have about this drug is from the system.
Right.
Versus like an actual reality.
Right. And it's crazy to see how far we've come, whereas now in the pandemic, we're deemed an essential business. And it's one of the industries that's remained open throughout the entire, since we've been in quarantine or, since the coronavirus started. And and the fight isn't over because there's still, states and countries that don't have access to this plant.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, if I ever tried it, I think I would want like a cannabis Sherpa, like one of you to walk.
Yeah, you need like a shaman. You need a shaman.
You need this, you need that, because I feel like it's very overwhelming, and I think once it became legal, people have been interested in trying it. People are reading all the good things that it does, but then you get into one of like these dispensaries, and it's like you hear the people throwing the lingo around, like, oh, I want a sativa, indica.
I see you as an edibles man.
And you're just like, oh, you're like, I don't know what I want. And I'm gonna go, and I get paranoid and I run. I'm like, I'm out.
So what do you drink alcohol?
Again, dude, I grew up Pentecostal Christian.
So you don't really. So when like you chill. Yeah, that's what I'm like. You like to relax. You're not doing it to turn up and wild out.
Yeah, I would like something just to mellow me out a little bit. And
like after he put the kids to bed, he's not trying to like smoke a fat blunt to the face per se, but maybe he'll take like a 10 milligram edible or like a one hitter, Well, or
it sounds like Erik. It sounds like he's tired of pushing stuff down. That's what it sounds like.
So Pentecostal is the one where the women have to wear the long dresses.
Long dresses, they feel the Holy Ghost fall over. It's the extreme sports of Christianity.
Oh, so wow.
What's the male commitment equivalent of having to wear the dress? Like, what's the standard you have to?
You just never live up to wear jeans. You just suit all the time. When you got home, you wear pants and stuff and shorts. But like at church, you were always. But there was no. I always felt bad because for men it wasn't a big thing. It was just like clean cut, no tattoos. But it wasn't like you had to wear a certain outfit all the time. Like you got to keep your arms covered. So it was just, but it was very like these are the rules. It was very strict. Like
were you allowed to dance?
I didn't really get out much. I didn't go to prom. I didn't go to parties or anything. My mom was very watchful. Like you stay home.
Yeah, she kept. So do you feel like that was beneficial to you? And now that you're an adult looking back, or do you feel like that kind of kept you cooped up?
I feel like it kept me cooped up, but I feel like it's beneficial. Like now I got kids, so I'm like, I'm not doing that crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna do the opposite. And I'm more open-minded about stuff because I did have questions growing up of stuff that was happening within the religion and with their parenting. They was just like, oh, you ain't got no faith. And I'm like, no, there's got to be an answer here. You can't just give me that.
But one of the most important tools, me knowing you, Erik, and coming to your defense, one of the most important tools that I feel that gave you, your childhood gave you, is the discipline that you have. Mm-hmm. Like you're able to follow a plan from A to Z and not skip anything. You're able, and that's stuff that sometimes that's where it comes from. Like certain people go into the military for that. Certain people go to church for that, where they just develop this. And then your mind gets open and more accepting to the rest of the world. But that discipline aspect of it stayed there. Ooh, was I just smart? I'm sorry.
And some people, and some people turn to cocaine. So,
yeah, that too.
I did. Now I will say that I did do an edible one time. And it was one of those things where, again, we're in LA, everybody's doing it. So I had I called a friend. I was like, hey, I'd like to get edibles. He said, call this number and they'll come to my house. This dude shows up to my house and he goes, I got lollipops and I got gummy bears. And I was like, oh, I'll take a lollipop.
Oh, gummy bears straight out of the fridge.
That was heroin.
The problem is, and now I feel like things are better now that it's legal because you were like, oh, this many milligrams.
Now it's dosed where it's like
there was no milligrams on this, Ramon. He said, all right, the big ones will get you there. And I said, oh, okay, cool. Let's go there. And I got the
there.
See, you don't even know what there is, though.
Yeah, no, I didn't want to look like a rookie, so I was just going with the lingo. I was like, yeah, I'll go there.
Where's there?
I'll tell you now, when I got there, I wanted to go back. I didn't like where there was. There was a lot of there was vomiting. I was laying on the floor.
Wow.
It was a mess.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you had too much.
Yeah, that's not the journey I see for you.
Yeah, no, that was not fun at all. My wife put a blanket on me, left me on the bathroom floor, and went to bed. And when I woke up, this is how I know my wife is my soulmate and she's a real one. I woke up, I was like, why didn't you call 911? I could have died. She was like, no, because I was a little high and I didn't want the cops taking our kids away. I can explain your death better than I can explain us both being high. And I was like, makes sense. All right. That's a good call.
That one through, bro.
When it happened to me, it happened by accident. My wife deals in music. She's heavy into the music world. So she went to a jam session, came back from the jam session. She had cupcakes with her from that jam session. She put them in the fridge, jumped in the shower. I got home after her, opened the fridge, saw the cupcake, threw the whole cupcake down.
Just because you was just in snack mode.
Yeah. No, I was like, oh, cupcake, right? I throw the whole cupcake down. I'm chilling. Now I feel like
while you're eating the cupcake, it didn't taste funny. You were just like, oh, that was a good cupcake.
No, it was a good cupcake. Okay. I guess they put
That's
they
the
put
thing
it in
weed now. Like
they put it in the butter.
It tastes like a treat.
Yeah,
and then there's just weed in it. Where before, back in the day, you'd eat like, oh, this is just like a weed chocolate.
Yeah. And this is back in Florida, so it isn't here. It isn't like what you said. I don't know the milligrams. I don't know what's going on. And I didn't know it was special on top of it. Last thing I had in my mind that it was a special cupcake. I throw it down. She's still in the shower. She comes out of the shower, and I feel funny. I tell her, I feel funny. And then she goes, all right. And then I go, yeah, I think we should go to the hospital. And then she goes, all right, let's go to the hospital. So then we start going to the hospital. On the way to the hospital, I'm telling her everything that I'm feeling. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, what I have in my head is not what's coming out of my mouth. Like I'm telling her that. What I have in my head is not coming out of my mouth. So she's listening to me. And then I go, and my heart beats fast. And then I feel everything, and then it stops beating fast. Like I'm reciting, because I felt that I was going to pass out. And according to Discovery Channel, if you're going to pass out, whoever's next to you start telling them what your symptoms are. So by the time that the rescue gets there, or you make it to the hospital, they can relay the information to the doctor. Again, Orlando's very smart. Anyway, so I'm saying that to her, and I'm like, yo, my heart, and then what I have in my head is not coming out of my mouth. And then we stopped at a red light, and the red light had a finger on a sign, and the finger pointed down at a light, and it said, it read, at red light, stop here. And I rolled down the window, and I started yelling at the sign, like, why are you telling me what to do? Stupid sign, right? And then my wife looks at me, and she goes, oh, you're an asshole. You ate the cupcake in the fridge. And then I go, what? And she goes, it's a special cupcake. And then I go, what does that mean? And then she goes, oh, you're gonna get high. And then I go, this doesn't seem like what my friends have told me that high is. So then right getting to the emergency room, we turned around, we went back home, I laid down. And then I was so mad at her, dude. I was so mad at her. I called my best friend, which is, other than my wife, my second best friend is a guy, Ramon knows him, is Forrest Shaw. Yeah. And Forrest has, comedian Forrest Shaw, he's also a scientist, and he's experimented with everything, right? So I'm like, yo, Forrest. And Forrest is like, yo, you got to relax. Great shaman, whatever guy. He starts talking calm on the phone. Here's what's happening, Orlando. It's just traveling through your blood. So when it gets to your heart, it pumps out even harder. And it's hitting you like waves. And then I go, yes, like waves from the ocean. And he goes, exactly, right? And then I go, what should I do? He goes, you should go out for a walk. And then I go, no, I'm not. I refuse to exercise. Why would I do it now? And then he's like, yeah. And then he goes, I don't know. Get your laptop and just watch Yo Gabba Gabba. and that was it, brother. I watched Yo Gabba Gabba, and I passed out.
Damn. And you haven't smoked or eaten weed since?
Nah, because it's not needed, and I really.
I feel like you've been high ever since, though.
I'm
surprised. I'm surprised your wife wasn't mad at you for eating the only cupcake.
Yeah,
like, you didn't even cut it in half and savor half of it.
Man.
No, she knows. It's my addiction. It's what I do. It's what I do. It's what I do.
I feel you. I mean, it could still I accidentally, like last time I was in LA, which was maybe over the winter time, I was doing that show, Gateway show, where you do a set and then you get high and then you do another set.
Love that show.
And I couldn't smoke because I just had a root canal. So they were like, all right, well, I'll get you. They got me they said they give me an edible, but they got me like a tincture. So it was like, you ever had like that bubble gum that comes in a little jar? You know what I'm talking about? It's like it looked like cough syrup. It was about like that big.
Uh-huh.
And so between shows, I just chug it. And then it was 600 milligrams. So I'm like, all right. So then I'm on stage and I'm getting thirsty. So I'm like, all right. And then I get off stage, I like chug a water, and I read the bottle, and it's like mixed with 8 parts water every little bit you do. So I had just chugged that. So then me and my friend, she was like, I need to go to the ATM. So we walked to the bank like 2 blocks away. She's getting her thing. We're both waiting on our Uber, and she's talking to me. And then next thing I know, she's like, hey, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I'm good. Is my Uber here? And I was just laying on, I just passed out and didn't realize. Like, I was just like, and I felt it coming because I was like, man, I'm thirsty. I was like, I should sit down. And then I drank, and that was the last thing I remembered. And it was like that.
I did that same show in Denver, with the Gateway show in Denver. And because of the elevation, you do your first set sober, whatever. And then there's an intermission. Everyone gets really high. And then we go and do our high set. So in the intermission, they gave me like 7 dabs, and I don't even dab, which is like heroin. This is weed. And then there's like heroin of weed, and that's dabbing. You guys won't ever get there. And I don't recommend it if you want to stay married. But anyways,
you guys are never gonna go pro. Just
stick to a little putter.
Yeah. So anyways, so I get on stage, and then the elevation just hits me, and I'm so high I can't even stand for my second set. I never sit down. I'm sitting in the chair, leaning up against the wall, like my crotches, like my legs are just like.
You're just like, I need to save energy.
I can't even like function. And that was 10 minutes that I'll never remember, but I do have video of it. It's on my, that is on my Instagram if anyone wants to suffer through that. But yeah.
Was that at the Cannabis Church?
That show? No, that was the next night. This was actually at the Looney Bin. 7 dabs. I'm not even kidding. I did 7. I thought, I'm like,
I can't even imagine, dude, because I did a gig in Denver opening up for Patton, and it hit me by surprise. I was sober, and just the altitude hit me, and next thing I know, I was doing my set and just sucking air, like, yeah, and
you gotta drink a bunch of water.
Yeah.
I couldn't even breathe. Yeah,
Eric, you have a few questions for us?
Oh no, I was gonna offer Ramon. So you're not in LA right now. Where are you in New York?
No, I'm in Lorain, Ohio, which is where I grew up. It's about 30 minutes west of Cleveland.
Okay.
Toni Morrison is from Lorain,
mm-hmm.
And that's it.
And you started in Ohio. You started in Cleveland.
Yeah. So I would borrow. I didn't have a car for the first 3 years I did comedy. So I would borrow my mom, dad's, or sister's car to go to Cleveland and do open mics. And they were like, what are you going to do? So I'm gonna go do this. And they were like, all right, cool. And then just started working at the clubs and running my own shows. Mm-hmm. And so it's I moved back here. I lived in LA from 2016 to 2019. And I did a bunch of shit, but I wasn't busy enough to feel comfortable staying there. just because like it's a hard city to not be busy in, and I couldn't afford to do like I moved back here and I'll look for cheap flights, so I'll find a flight to Boston for like back and forth for like $150, and then I'll plan a bunch of indie gigs around it to make like $750 and be out there for like a week and do a bunch of shit. But doing that out of LA, like you can't really, like your flight out there is half of that, and then getting around like, but out of here it's just so much more affordable. And I was doing a good mix of like that type of touring around club dates, and making enough to like pay down my debt, like fix my credit, like do a bunch of shit like that. And then Corona hit, and then I don't have anything until hope maybe next year. Like every club's like, hit us in 2021. I'm like, all right, cool.
Now back to like I know we talked about in the beginning. You were talking about like the stereotype is you smoke and you're lazy, but dude, you started a comedy festival in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Like crazy.
Well, it was just because like there wasn't like when I started, there was like a Monday night open mic that was for comedy that my buddy Jim Tooze, who lives out in New York, hosted. And then I just started going to that every week. And then I would do like poetry open mics, music open mics, like just whatever. And then I wasn't funny enough to work at the club. So I would just go there all the time, ask to go up. He'd be like, no. But eventually it's like, oh, yeah. And then I'd help like set up, do a bunch of shit. And then I went to Chicago and just saw how like there's this whole like shows in like coffee shops and like laundromats and rock venues and all these different spaces. I'm like, oh, all you need is like a space and people. So then I just started running a bunch of shows when I got back to Cleveland, and all of them were failed until I found like a little venue that I could fit like 50 to 100 people in. And I moved the open mic there and started in 2010. I booked like Hannibal, Trevor Noah, Amy Schumer, Todd Barry, Nikki Glaser, like just a bunch of people who like got real huge in this look because neither of the clubs in town, there's 2A clubs in Cleveland, but none of them were booking any of those people. Right. Mm-hmm. And I did all that just so I could have stage time, but wound up like creating a space for like other people to participate or be like, oh, well, I can find a bar to do it. And so it's just kind of now I could go and do before Corona, I could go and do an open mic 5 nights out of the week.
Yeah. One of my favorite Ramon stories is because I know Ramon, and that within the industry we talked about him was that I believe Ramon shot his half hour for Comedy Central, and this is for a lot of people who are trying to figure out their life, what to do, whether it's in stand-up or acting or just becoming the manager. But Ramon is a person who he got a half hour on Comedy Central, and he didn't even have management. He didn't have an agent. This was all just being a good dude and always delivering wherever he was through his relationships and making those connections and relationships. I remember being so proud of you when that happened for you. Thanks, I don't know if by that time you made it over to Entre Nos, you were already being represented and stuff like that.
Yeah, so I didn't have managers when I lived in Cleveland, and I would go to New York or LA and I would meet. That's what I think I met you. I stayed at Forrest's apartment, and I think you were out of town for most of it, but like that's when you guys were living up in Glendale. And so like I'd meet these people, and it was weird because when I did the half hour, there were people who were like, Ramon Rivas, he's a talent buyer. Like they knew my name, but they didn't know me as a comedian. Yeah. And so which is good and bad, because then they just don't associate, they don't consider you for the things that you would consider someone that's a comedian for versus someone who's a talent buyer. So it's a weird, like you're familiar with each other, but you're prey and also like predator, like it's a weird dynamic. But then I had rest for a year, but I kept being like, so what are y'all doing? Like I kept like, because I'm good at stand-up and I figured out the other things, like I've learned how to diversify since then, but like at the time I'm like just good at stand-up comedy. So I'm like, well, logic would dictate you just try to get me on like showcases and auditions and then set up meetings out of that. So people have context for me. Because they were sending me on a lot of meetings where people would like obviously be reading like my bio from my website. And they'd be like, so you like sandwiches, huh? And I'm like, oh, okay. Like there's just no context for me. So like if I'm in a room of mostly white people, I just seem like a really chill, high dude who you're like, all right, cool. Well, let me know if something happens. It's like, oh, all right. Versus like, I don't know, being in a better position to take advantage of that, like not having the representation for so long made me used to, like, I didn't know I had to program them
right
to do exactly the things that I think, like, I don't know, because they try to put you on the same track as everybody.
Yeah,
right. And now, Rachel, you started, if I read the article correctly, you started just making memes first. And then stand up.
Well, before I got into stand up, I was just basically writing memes and jokes, for a whole year. And then that transitioned to open mics and then eventually to, getting booked on shows. And I've always just been fascinated with writing. And yeah, that was kind of my way of getting it. And then like I had a video go up on Laugh Factory, and then I started getting more opening gigs, like Lisa and Felipe started booking me to open for him. And yeah, it's just been, I miss it so much. I miss stand-up, you guys, so much.
But now before that, you weren't like, before you started doing the memes, you weren't like, I want to do stand-up comedy.
No, I did want to do stand-up comedy. I actually wanted to start doing stand-up 3 years before I even got into it, like around 2013 when I moved to Los Angeles, but I didn't start doing it until 2016. And even before that, I've always loved stand-up. Like when I was living in Florida, I was going to the Palm Beach Improv and to like Miami Improv, like going to see stand-up shows. Like I was going to see like Andrew Dice Clay in Las Vegas, where I'm from. Like I've always loved stand-up. But like it wasn't until a certain point in my life did I actually see one of my sorority sisters from college doing stand-up, and I was like, I want to do that too.
Mm-hmm. Like seeing steps to go from like where you're sitting in the crowd to at the club is like there's a whole gap.
Well, I actually saw someone I know doing it, because when you see like I was going to see like, big names doing stand-up, it doesn't seem attainable for someone like me. And then when I saw someone that I knew, it became, oh, this is a real thing. This is like a passion. I could really, I could get into this. And ever since I stepped foot on stage, I made it my life.
Yeah. Yeah, my advice to people who are like, how do I get to the stand-up? I was like, just go to an open mic and see how bad people are, and then you're like, oh, I could do that. It doesn't seem as intimidating as when you see like a professional who's just like smooth.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, growing up, I watched like Eddie Murphy Raw and Delirious. So when I saw that, I was like, oh, that's amazing. But I was never good. Saw him and go, oh, I can do that. I want to try that. Mm-hmm. It was just like, oh, that's what famous people do. Yeah, that guy's uber famous. As a kid, and then as I got older and started going to stand-up shows, I was like, oh, other people do this. I can give this a try.
Right. Yeah, it's so cool.
So I did it. I just went and did it because that's what I do.
You were just so awesome.
Yeah. Well, I started I went like a couple months into the pandemic. I just looked on Facebook Marketplace and I found like a PA system. Nice. Speakers, stands, a mic stand. I already had 2 mics. I reached out to the city and I got a permit for the park that's like a block from my house. And I was just like, I just picked a spot in the park that I know never has people in it, but has space. And so like since then I've done like on Sundays, I just do have like an hour-and-a-half block and people come, and I've been slowly like adjusting like where I set up. And I bought like a FM transmitter so people can listen in their cars on the radio. And so like giving people safe options. Like if you don't want to wear a mask, stay your ass in the car and listen on the radio. And if you want to wear a mask, there's a bunch of space where you can social distance on this football field. And so it's been cool to like community build in the community I'm from. And also like a very selfish, like I just miss doing stand up. But like immediately had like a dozen dudes be like, how could I do your show? And I'm like, I don't even know who you are.
Some things never change.
Things never change. And so that reminded me like, okay, so I reached out to like all the people I know and then all the comics of color, all the women, and was like, hey, I'm doing this thing. Like it's on Sundays if you want to come out. And then I just give everyone $10 for gas money. I sell shirts on my website. If people buy any shirt, $10 goes towards the show. And I just try to like keep a safe, considerate space for everybody on both sides of things. And that's been good so far.
Nice.
And now are there any plans for a virtual Cleveland Comedy Festival?
I don't feel like dealing with it. Like I've given consideration to like the model that Nowhere Comedy Club does and a couple other places do these digital shows, which are great. Like it feels very like methadone to the heroin of live stand-up. But like on every show I've done, I've made like good money for like sitting at the crib like this.
Yeah.
Not having to like go travel anywhere and buy a drink or food or anything like that. And but then when you ask to do the headline metrics, it's kind of like a real, like it's a deal that if a club gave it to you, you'd be like, let's adjust this money, especially if I'm the one selling tickets.
Yeah. And
you know, so it made me think, well, I looked in and like to get a Zoom account that accommodates 300 people is like $20 or $25 a month. So I'm like, well, the amount that you chop up off top, I could just get a year plus subscription to Zoom and try to do it myself. But then all this civil unrest started happening, and I'm like, well, I don't want to be promoting stuff when like, so it's like but I'd like to figure out a way to do it in more like a co-op style, where it's artist friendly, because this is a time where like we've been on a work stoppage. So it's like, as we go back to these clubs, what are the expectations we have for being able to ask for our features to be of color, like have an inclusion rider when you go to the club and like up the pay and like things like that. Like it's like a strike, but like everyone's just willing to go back without getting proper consideration. You know, it's great, but frustrating at the same time.
I just did, you know, we have a good friend in common named Dave Williamson, and every year he does the Gondo Comedy Festival in El Segundo.
Yeah, which is that's super fun.
Yeah.
It's out
and
now.
This year, he did it because he lives in that community. And what he did the festival. I actually went on, and Eric knows how I feel about these Zoom shows, but I did it because my friend asking me. And basically, people donated to the venue where he was doing the Zoom show from, and it was great, man. I had fun with it. It was lots of fun. I did one corporate gig, and it was fantastic because the pay was outrageous. And when I was done, I was like, I can't do this, not for an hour. What do I? And I remember wanting to check out like at 50 minutes, and they were like, "No, you still got 10." And they were all having a good time. And then when I was done, I was just like, "Oh wow, I'm home." I didn't even like it. Just hit me that like, but I was compensated well, really well.
Yeah,
you know. So I understand what you're saying.
That's dope.
Yeah.
People are asking, Rachel Ramon, what is your favorite strain of weed?
I like OG Kush.
I enjoy.
Or a garlic cookies.
I don't even know what that is. I like a Skittles. It's Skittles with a Z. Or just, I'm fine with like a green crack. Or because that was like what I smoked for like a big period of time, because that was like the best weed in Ohio for a long time. So that was like the boutique thing, even though like accessibility in Cali, it's like a very nonchalant.
Why do the strains go from sounding harmless to extreme? You went from Skittles to green crack. Like,
oh yeah.
I mean, I don't name them. Okay. And like a lot of times, because I'm in the Midwest, a lot of times I'm like, is this just a made up name that you're putting on this so you can charge me more money?
I'm smoking a Durban Poison right now.
That's one of the oldest strains, right?
See, that makes newbies like me in Orlando nervous. It's like, oh, you want some Sour Patch Kids or sudden death?
Yeah,
sudden death for sure.
I'm done. So
I'll take an ounce.
So what I was thinking of doing, since me and Orlando don't smoke, is we are gonna take a quiz. Orlando, you ready for this?
Yeah.
We're gonna take a quiz that'll tell us what cannabis strain we might like.
Oh my god, this is so fun.
Well, before that, why don't we have the experts weigh in? What do you think Orlando's gonna like?
I think he'll like an indica.
Well, all right.
An OG.
So, I feel like Orlando, to start out with, would you want to shut your brain down at the end of the day, or have like a early day smoke and then you could be creative and like do shit?
No, I wouldn't want to shut down my brain.
Maybe a blue dream.
But I mean, like, you know how sometimes you can't exactly get to sleep, like you just be like,
no, I have no.
You don't have problems sleeping?
Nope.
Okay, then so you want to be creative? You want like create something during the day, like to help you write or whatever?
No, don't need that. But yeah, I get it. My favorite commercial, I don't know if you guys watch commercials. I love commercials. My favorite commercial right now is the one where it's like a middle-aged guy on the passenger seat with his wife driving, and he's just eating Twizzlers, looking into the distance, and they read the thought in his head is like, I wonder if I'm too old to start skateboarding. Like,
I had that thought.
That's me constantly.
Okay.
I literally want to learn how to skateboard, and I'm in my 30s. Is it too late?
Nah, man, I don't got enough insurance or like financial capital to skate.
All right, so
I know that's the only thing that's keeping me for real from doing it.
So yeah, so let's go with creativity. Well,
hold on. Do you want?
I don't know what specific strain, but I think he will fall with like something that's like a sativa or
a blue dream
heavy hybrid.
Orlando, you want to feel uplifted and dreamy, energetic and creative, carefree and productive, social and focused, artistic and blissful, or relaxed and chill?
Let me see. Go down a little bit. I forgot. Dude, I just want to feel like artistic and blissful. I like that.
That's one. All right, next question.
Yes.
We're gonna pick a flavor. Do you like fruity? Do you like juicy? Do you like tart? Or do you like sweet?
That's an excellent question.
Yeah, I agree.
Would this be the
although those aren't all of the flavors that
would this be like the would this be like the feel like, because I see lemon and I love lemonade. So yeah, tart.
Ooh, tart. Okay, so
all right. Here we go. Now choose a smell, Orlando. Do you like spice? Do you like gasoline? Gasoline.
Pine? Super lemon haze, maybe?
Yeah, I'll go with pine, but that's according to Alonzo from Training Day. That's what you smell when you're you're getting lethal injection. You smell pine.
Okay, pick something to do with your friends. Do you like camping, concert, dinner party, or craft day?
I see you as a craft day.
Nah, I'm straight up dinner party.
Yeah, he's about that food. He's like, what you put on that grill?
All right, Orlando, choose a place to nap: a hammock, poolside, cozy couch, or luxurious bed. You strike me as a hammock kind of guy.
Man, it's between a hammock. I can do all four of them. I'm very good at sleeping.
You got to pick.
I'll go with cozy. I like cozy.
Cozy couch. All right. Let's see. Pick your favorite dessert: gelato, apple pie, brownie, or lemon bar. Now that I know you like lemons, I'm going to say lemon bar.
No,
he already picked lemon. He don't want to double down on the lemon.
No, but man, I ate within an hour. I ate at like 5. I'm flexing on y'all guys, but we were in Rome, and I ate at 5 gelato spots within 1 hour.
In the same day? In the same hour?
Yeah, 1 hour. I just kept going from gelato spots.
What was the best one?
What was the sizes you was getting?
I knew that I was gonna go on that journey, so I just got like 1 scoop everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah.
We're going gelato?
Yeah.
And now choose a defining characteristic: chill, fun, rugged, or comforting.
Comforting. I like comforting. Oh, well, what I like to give people?
What you like to feel? What you want to feel?
I'll go. That's because all of them are like great feelings. Fun.
Rugged seems too much.
No, rugged. I'm not into that rugged lifestyle.
No, you don't wear no Timbs.
Yeah. I don't like. I would go. Let's go because chill. I think it's between fun and comforting. That can be like and be like saying amazing stuff. That's in
We're gonna pick a drink here: red wine, old fashioned, Moscow Mule, or rosé.
Old fashioned,
Oh, okay. Oh, I learned something about you. You an old fashioned kind of guy.
Yeah.
And then the final question: day or night?
Day or night. Man, I love dusk and like dawn. I love those.
Oh, man, those are not options. Options here are day or night.
You can have that at either end of either of those.
Yeah.
Very true.
Damn it. Day or night.
What's better, a day you stayed up all day or a day you stayed up all night from sunset to sunrise? Which did you have more fun doing?
You know what? Like what I talk, man, I miss being young and going out at night with my friends and having that feeling that J-Lo had in that video. I Feel So Good from the song on the 6, the album on the 6, where you're just like, where I would stick my head out of the car and look at the stars at night as we're driving into like South Beach to go to a reggae club.
So then we're going night.
Yeah, let's go night. But I love the day. I love
OG
Kush.
OG Kush. Okay.
That's an indica.
I called it.
Yep. I'll tell my wife. OG Kush. Indica. What does indica mean?
I don't know.
In the couch.
That's an ender. That's why I said it's like a chill. Like I'm just trying to eat some snacks, chill with the wife, watch some TV, like zone out.
During the day, though.
Yeah.
I love that it says this is trained for hosting a dinner party with close friends.
Yeah. Rachel, you're in LA?
Yeah.
Okay, so you could be my shaman if I
got you anytime.
Yeah, we could do it over FaceTime. I'm about that life.
Yeah, totally.
We should do an outdoors live, and Rachel takes us and helps us pick our strains here.
Yeah. I will walk you guys through this process. I'll be your shaman, and then we can move on to mushrooms.
Yeah.
Hold on. Wait, now you're going too far.
Yeah.
I was agreed to go into the one step at a time, Rachel.
I was gonna do ayahuasca. I was gonna go with my friend Aristotle, and we were gonna go to what is it in the desert? Joshua Tree. And we were gonna go do ayahuasca. And once again, thank you to my good buddy Forrest Shaw. That was like, Forrest is like he was like, nah, Orlando, you don't do nothing. How you gonna go from 0 to 60? I was like, oh, that's right, that makes sense.
But that's one of those things that predates modern medicine as like a holistic, spiritual journey. Like you have a shaman during the process who like guide you through.
I don't want to do it with Eric.
But like I also
he's a DJ.
I also feel
you
like
know,
you
don't want to do that with a DJ. You know, he's just a DJ dude. You know.
All right, before we get out of here, thank you guys for jumping on. Tell everyone where they can
Hold up. No. You didn't take the quiz.
Oh, you want me to take the quiz?
Yeah, take the quiz.
All right,
he could take it while we're doing our plugs.
All right, go ahead. We'll start with Rachel. Tell everyone what you're working on, where they can find you.
I'm just working on myself and my self-care right now on Twitter at Wolfie Comedy. And I still have episode 1 or season 1 of my podcast, Chronic Relief Pod, on Instagram, Chronic Relief, Spotify, where else are we? iTunes. It's Chronic Relief with Rachel Wolfson. And yeah, season 1 just dropped. I'm so high, you guys. That was really hard. It's your turn, Ramon.
My website is blazerramon.com, blazerramon.com. That has like videos, my 2 seasons of my podcast, links to my album, Ramon Rivas Revisited, which is on all the platforms. Half of it just got approved by SiriusXM, ingested into 3 of their channels. Nice. Which is dope because like I chopped that up from like clips that I had from like Comedy Magic and shit like that, and just used DistroKid to upload it and got it across all the platforms, and then just like found the contact info for the people who like look over the thing, and they sent me the metadata sheet, and you just like submitting it across the platforms gave me the information I needed to give to Sirius. And then it took like 4 months for them to like get around to listening to it. But then my album is 12 comedy tracks and they took 6 of them.
Nice. Fantastic. Congratulations, buddy.
Thanks, man.
And on doing the work. Ramon's always been a guy like I remember one of the tips that Ramon gave me that I didn't know about. Again, he's traveling on his own. He's doing Crashing on HBO. And he was smart enough to say, hey, is there a hotel stipend? And they were like, yes. And he said, well, can I just have the hotel stipend? And I'll just stay at my friend's couch? And yes. And on top of the money, they paid him for performing on the show and being an actor, not performing as a comic, but being an actor on the show. He gets another check for crashing on his friend's couch. Beautiful stuff.
Wow.
Yeah,
you guys are so inspiring.
But I had to do that because I had to cancel a weekend of work to like take that because they offered it to me last minute.
Yes. Oh, you did it.
So it just like balances out.
And I am a witness to Ramon because I was there on the day that he taped. His writer did say weed, and it was provided and allegedly, and his producer, the producer of That Entre Nos, I don't know if they provided it, but I remember them saying, "Oh, this writer's type of different. This request is a little bit different, right?" But I don't know if they delivered it to him or they did it.
But that's the thing. As an artist, you can just put in your like in order for you to bring me, this is what I want. And like you said, because I would see it as someone who would book people, like I'd book a comic and their writer would have like they need a piñata and like X amount of this certain snack. And so like if you didn't have them, they would, if you're a club, they get mad at you. I was like, I'm not going to get this piñata. But I got everything else on it. But then that just made me realize like, oh, you can just ask for shit. And then I live right by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And one of my favorite things in it is it's a writer from the Rolling Stones on tour, and it's like 2 pages. It's like all this booze, all these pies, all this juice, all these different snacks. And then at the end it says, no, none of this is for Stevie Wonder. Like, because they were on the same bill. It's like, this is all just our shit. Yeah. If you want us, like, we're not sharing. Like, and so like that's what I meant earlier when I said like inclusion writer. Like, if you want to make sure that you can either have like representation as the host or representation as the feature, that like you let me pick who I'm bringing or approve who you're putting on the show.
Mm-hmm.
And that just gives you that little bit of leverage, because I only had the opportunity to do that like one weekend this year. I was supposed to headline Dr. Grins this weekend, and it got canceled. But I like advocated to get Holly Linnea, who's a very funny comic from Louisville, to feature for me. And then like when they reopened, like it was all dudes and I was the only comic of color. And that made me too uncomfortable to like, hey, I'm going to be at this club. So I was like, hey, like that made me feel weird. Like I would like to like help y'all. I'll make my weekend a headlining weekend and like cut my money that I negotiated down so we get paid the same amount. Because I told Holly, I was like, I wouldn't go somewhere to make $500 right now. Like I'm not going to endanger myself to go do that. But I felt like if we both make a little over a stack, I think it's still worth it for both of us to go do. But what's
important, what I want to add is that you did put that in your writer, and Edwin Licona delivered on it. Not him delivered on it, but he still has a copy. Yeah, actually, there you go. There he still has a copy of the request, and I remember having that conversation with Edwin Licona back in the days when I used to talk to him before he joined TikTok, because he's a grown man on TikTok. He's
out here dancing.
He's on TikTok. Yeah, I don't know.
Right, I'm down to my final question here. Finally, day or night, we're gonna find out what kind of strain it's saying I should have. Sunset sherbet. See, that sounds mild. That sounds like a nice flavor.
It's a hybrid. It's right in the middle of everything.
That's it. It's like you don't gain weight with that. Sunset
no calories.
Yeah. Low calories on that one.
So now here's the question, because you guys are my shamans here. If I go into a dispensary and ask for sunset sherbet, they're gonna know what I'm talking about. Or they're gonna look at me like I'm crazy and laugh me out of there.
No, they'll know what you're talking about.
Mm-hmm. You can go you can go on Weed Maps, type that strain in, and then it will tell you what dispensaries carry that strain. So you can very, very, very much like plan ahead and like get that and be like, hey, I'd also like, can I get something like a mint that's low dosage, where you can get something that's mostly CBD, more CBD than THC, and that'll just kind of like be different and easier for you to like balance out than like, you know, that random lollipop you ate.
Look at that, Orlando. We learned a lot today. There's apparently there's a weed map like Google Maps, and I can find it.
Yeah.
I can't wait. As soon as we hang up, I'm gonna run upstairs and tell my wife, like, yo, I'm supposed to smoke Snoop Doggy Dogg something. OG Kush.
Thank you guys again for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
Ramon, Rachel, big fans of you guys, and I'm so happy
likewise
up online and turning the content out. Guys, please follow them at Wolfie Comedy, at Blazer Ramon, and like I say every week, the way you can help any comedian, follow them, share their work. Right now, we're all trapped at home, and we're just trying to make people laugh. So share the work so we can spread the word on us, and then once this lockdown goes away, we can hit the road and meet new people, and we can't wait to see you guys. All right, and we will see you next week.
Peace out.
Later.